Hello everyone, so I'm going to show you today in this video our startup seedlings for our springtime garden. So these plants here are a bunch of plants that we've started from seed. Over here are some of the oldest ones we got started already a couple weeks ago. So in here I've got some kukutsa squash. One year we did these and those did very well. We got quite a few off of that plant. The chickens really enjoy them. I really enjoyed them. I liked sauteing the squash a lot. So I'm hoping this year we'll get some nice healthy plants out of these. As you can see, this one here already is pretty nice looking. Got some nice strong stems. And while I do like starting seeds off like inside the house even, just to even keep critters from digging in them and bugs from eating them, I must say that getting them outside to get the sun, that's what gives them some nice really strong stems. I noticed like this one, I'm really liking how thick those stems are. So these guys are probably gonna go in the ground soon. And then here we've got, these were the Lemon Queen sunflowers. So we've got a couple of those going in there. Those ones I'm probably not gonna plant in the ground quite yet. Whereas here we've got the mammoth Russian sunflower. As you can see, these guys are quite a big deal bigger already. But the mammoth Russian ones I'm also gonna be putting in the ground soon. And I'm really happy with how big these have gotten. Again, some nice strong stems on these guys, which they really need, especially on windy days like today. And then here, got a bunch of pigeon peas. So that's I would say it's a more unusual plant that not everybody's heard of. These, well, hence the name pigeon peas, they do make like a little bean pod on it, which those are edible. We grow them, well actually, primarily I like having them even just for the leaves because my rabbits eat them. So they're a good fodder for the rabbits, so I like having those. There's a few more of the pigeon peas in here, so I've got quite a few of those going on. And those are probably getting close to being about ready to go in the ground too. So yeah, this whole basket will be getting in the ground soon. I've got in this container, this is more of the, actually I think these are the Russian, yes, these are the Russian sunflowers. The mammoth Russian sunflowers, but this is a newer batch. They aren't as old as these other guys here. But all of them started popping up not too long ago, so we're going to have lots of sunflowers. This is the garnet red amaranth. As you can see, the germination rate was pretty good on that. So we got lots of those going. I'll have to separate those soon because they're pretty close together. But we got quite a few of those. These ones are actually older than this batch, but these ones are catching up. I also wanted to note both of these containers that I'm growing stuff in, I did not have holes popped in the bottom, so they aren't like the plant pots here that are drained. But as long as you're watchful and you don't overwater it too much, these are actually pretty good because it does prevent the dirt from drying out, which that was a big problem that we've been having. In fact, last year I had a lot of issues with some seedlings, but I do think that was because things were just drying out way too quickly and I wasn't able to keep up with that. So having the containers without the holes does help in keeping it a little more moist, as long as you're still watching not to overwater it. But as you can see, most of these things are doing pretty good as they are. Well, there's a few random things in here. I believe this is another kukutsa that happened to pop, but this is a much younger one. So it's a little guy. right here are some tiny moringa plants, or trees, I should say. They will grow quite tall later, but for now they're just these little sprouts. I hadn't been sure that they were going to come up, but they popped the other day. Those are one of our favorite permaculture plants. Like I said, they grow into a tree. Again, it's something that the animals like to eat. Even last year we had quite a bit of harvest of the moringa, so we had taken it all, dried it out, and then I powdered it. So we've had some nice jars of the moringa powder. So that's just a nutritious extra. I sometimes throw it in stuff when I'm cooking, and I do throw it in the animals' food just as a little extra supplement as far as like vitamins and minerals go. So that's a healthy thing. But yeah, these are the tiny baby trees. A few other things we have in here. There's a few things that haven't come up yet. Well, actually, this is another bucket of moringa, but there's nothing there yet. So that will be growing eventually. And I've got some basils going in here. So this was mammoth basil. So that's a more of a large leaf basil. Those are still pretty tiny, but they're looking good. This here is lemon basil. I've found this one kind of hard to grow in the past, but this seems to have come up pretty well. So I think did something better with this as of this year. And this was spicy saber basil. It hasn't grown yet, but I had just planted that, so I'm hoping that will come up soon as well. Basil is one of my favorite things to grow. And in here, we have more basil. So this was the Boloso Napolitano basil. So I've never tried this one before, so I'm excited to see how that one turns out. This one's definitely coming along pretty big. This is one of the first bunch I planted, but I do have to say, so this is drained at the bottom. But what I ended up doing here was I took this clear plastic container to keep over it a lot of the time. So it's clear, so it lets the sunlight through. But I noticed it also would help hold the water in a little bit when I'd, come and spray things. But also it held the heat in. And I do think that that's helped because we have had a few cooler nights. I would usually take some of this stuff inside the house to keep it warmer. But I have noticed that keeping this cover on top has actually kept it a little more toasty, and I think it's actually why this basil's actually grown a lot faster even than some of the other ones has, because it's had that warmth. But just a note too, not all of this is basil. On this side, I've got some ground cherries going. So those are kind of cool because they're kind of like tomatoes. They're in that family, but they are different. They're a little more sweet. They're almost a little more fruity in a sense. But I'm excited. These look like they're some pretty healthy plants we got going there. And all this white stuff here you're seeing, there's some powdered eggshell I put in there for some nutrition. So that's what you're seeing there. But anyway, so I'm really happy with how these are. And again, all of this stuff, I'm really happy because they have nice, strong, firm stems. And that's really what you want with all these plants. You don't want anything getting too leggy and falling over. But I really do think it's the sun that keeps them going pretty strong. But yeah, so that's just my little setup for this section here. So on the subject of seeds, since that's what I've been showing you, here are some seeds we got recently. So this was when we went to the farmhouse fair, and we bought these from David the Good's booth. But yeah, the farmhouse fair, that was a pretty fun event. There was lots of vendors there. We saw some cute goats, and then obviously we got to talk to David the Good and his family, and then we bought some plants and these seeds, which I'm excited about planting soon. Haven't gotten to that yet, but yeah, we got some loofah and landrace daikon radish. But I also wanted to say as well, since we did, buy some plants and seeds from him too, a lot of the stuff in general in our garden, we do prefer to buy from like our local people that are selling plants, and I think that that's an important thing to do is, you know, buy from your local people that grow, and you know, whether it's for their business or even if it's just for a hobby. I think that that's a good thing to do rather than buying from all the big box stores, and that's just something that we, you know, prefer to do when we're adding to our garden. These were Kai's Roma tomatoes that she started, so there was way more than just this. She planted a bunch in the ground, but she got a bunch of nice plants out of there. And she also had used the same method as what I was talking about before in the plastic containers that didn't have the holes in it. She did the same thing, put a bunch of dirt, put the seeds on top, or put the seeds in the dirt, and kept it moist, but not too overwatered, and yeah, it sprouted a bunch. It was actually kind of cool looking at the container at how many little tomato plants there were when they first came up. So she separated those out, and here's some of them here. But yeah, so that is a little tour of all of our seed startups, and I've still been continuing doing some. I've still got some pots of things that haven't quite come up yet. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed a little tour of our seed startups, and I hope everybody else is getting their garden set up as well.